Imagine you're standing in two different forests. In the first, a deer walks into a clearing. In the second, a wolf appears. Both are made of meat. Both could feed your family. Yet for thousands of years, humans have hunted one and almost ignored the other. Across nearly every civilization on Earth, the pattern repeats. People raise cows, sheep, goats, chickens, fish that feed on plants or small organisms, but almost never wolves, lions, eagles, or sharks. Why? Is predator meat poisonous? Does it taste bad? Or is there a deeper reason? Almost every culture reached the same conclusion. The answer begins with one rule that governs every ecosystem on Earth. Energy is expensive. Every living thing survives by borrowing energy from something else. Grass captures sunlight. A deer eats the grass. A wolf eats the deer. At every step, most of that energy disappears. Biologists call this the 10% rule. On average, only about 10% of the energy stored in one level of the food chain becomes part of the next. The rest is burned. Through movement, body heat, breathing, simply staying alive. That means a wolf contains only a tiny fraction of the sunlight that first entered the grass. To create one predator, nature has already spent enormous amounts of energy. From a hunter's perspective, that makes predators a terrible investment. Kill one deer, and you've harvested energy almost directly from plants. Kill one wolf, and you've harvested the leftovers. Nature has already done most of the wasting for you. But energy is only the beginning. Predators are expensive in another way. They fight back. A deer usually runs. A wolf may attack. A wild boar charges. A bear can kill the hunter instead. Throughout human history, every hunt carried risk. Broken bones, deep wounds, infection, death. When food is scarce, the smartest strategy is not finding the strongest animal. It's finding the safest meal. Humans slowly became experts at calculating that risk, and predators almost never offered a worthwhile reward. Even today, many of the world's most dangerous hunting accidents involve carnivores defending themselves rather than herbivores trying to escape. Then there is something hidden inside the meat itself. Parasites. Every predator inherits more than muscle from its prey. It also inherits many of the parasites living inside it. As animals move higher up the food chain, parasites become more concentrated. Trichinella, tapeworms, and other dangerous organisms are far more common in wild carnivores than in grazing animals. Long before microscopes existed, people noticed the consequences. Some meat made people sick more often. Generation after generation, cultures remembered, not because they understood parasites, because experience taught them which meals were worth repeating. This process even shaped human traditions. Many cultures developed taboos against eating certain predators. Others considered them emergency food rather than everyday food. Those customs may have begun as survival strategies long before anyone understood biology. Taste also plays a role. Animals that spend their lives chasing prey develop dense, active muscles. Those muscles contain different proportions of connective tissue and fat compared with grazing animals. The result is often darker, stronger, and tougher meat. Not in every species, but often enough that hunters have commented on it for centuries. A grazing cow spends much of its day eating. A wolf spends much of its day moving. Its muscles tell that story. But perhaps the biggest reason has nothing to do with hunting. It has to do with farming. Around 10,000 years ago, humans discovered something that changed civilization forever. Instead of chasing food, they could raise it. That worked beautifully with herbivores. Feed a cow grass. Feed sheep plants. Feed goats shrubs. The sun grows the plants. The plants grow the animals. Humans harvest the animals. Simple. Now imagine trying to farm wolves. First, you must feed the wolves. With what? Meat. Where does that meat come from? Other animals, which themselves had to eat plants. You are adding an extra step to the food chain. Every extra step wastes more energy. Modern agriculture still follows exactly the same principle. Even farmed carnivorous fish require enormous amounts of feed compared with plant-eating species. Nature's economics never changed. Neither did ours. There is another pattern scientists have noticed. The animals humans domesticated all shared something important. They naturally lived in groups, accepted social hierarchies, ate abundant food, and reproduced predictably. Most large predators do the opposite. They defend territories, require huge hunting ranges, compete aggressively, and produce relatively few offspring. Even if predator meat were delicious, most predators would still make terrible livestock. There are exceptions. People have eaten crocodiles, sharks, bears, even lions in certain places and periods of history. But those meals remained unusual. Not because humans couldn't eat predators, because predators rarely made sense to eat. Which leads to one final question. If predator meat is edible, why do so many people instinctively avoid the idea? Psychologists think part of the answer lies inside our own minds. Humans naturally divide animals into categories: food, danger, companion, wildlife. Predators often belong to the second category. We imagine eating a cow differently from eating a wolf. Not because biology demands it, because culture shaped those boundaries over thousands of years. Perhaps the strangest part of this story is that almost every civilization reached a similar conclusion without ever speaking to one another. From Europe, to Asia, to Africa, to the Americas, people independently built diets centered around herbivores, not because someone invented the rule, because evolution had already written it. Predators simply cost too much. Too much energy. Too much danger. Too much uncertainty. So, why do we almost never eat predator meat? Not because predators are poisonous. Not because they're impossible to eat, but because nature quietly stacked every advantage against them. Less energy, greater risk, more parasites, harder to raise, more expensive to maintain. Across thousands of generations, humans weren't following a recipe. They were following biology. And biology had already done the math, long before we ever did.